So I don't know why you're giving me one of the feast days as your justification for establishing his weekly Sabbath. That just doesn't make any sense. That's a Babylonian tradition that you've picked up. That's a stumbling block. That's what's making his feasts are actually what's making you blind to where you cannot see that the day starts at dawn. For light is day. He defined that in Genesis. I sent you a video on this. Genesis, he tells you, light he called day. Day. He didn't call night day. He called light day. He didn't call darkness day. He called light day. Right? And we're not supposed to be doing the feasts in a profane land. I mean, you're not even listening to Jehovah's full instructions. Read Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 5 and 6. You're only to do the feasts where he has written his name, where he's chosen to write his name, and he wrote his name in Jerusalem. This is Ezekiel 48, chapter 48, I believe. Go read those. And Jeremiah 4 through 9 addresses Judah. He doesn't accept their feasts. It's Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 20, I think. Says he doesn't accept your feasts. Actually, he places a stumbling block for those who are doing that. That's like verse 21. You're stumbling. It's made you blind to see that his day starts at dawn. Morning in Genesis means dawn. Strong's Concordance I gave you, go look it up. It says dawning of the day. For he tells you light is day, darkness is night. He works during the day. Then evening, that transition period would come, and then nighttime, and then morning, dawn for the first day, and so forth through all of his days. We went over this. You're trying to pull scripture. I give you Matthew 28 to show you the very verse that says, Mary Magdalene, it was still dark before the dawning of the first day of the week. Mary Magdalene came with the other Mary to the sepulchre. I don't know how to say that word. Before the dawning, morning, right? Morning means dawning. And Strong's Concordance, before the dawning of the first day of the week. Before Sunday. It's simple. It's very, very simple. So stop profaning his feast. Take that log out of your eye so you don't have a rock of stumbling. For Jehovah tells you he's going to make you stumble. If you're profaning his feasts and doing it in a profane land where he didn't write his name on a calendar that you don't have. And I've heard people say, well, we do it because we're just practicing. Have you read the story of Solomon? He was supposed to destroy all the animals. Jehovah told him to destroy all the animals, and he thought he was obeying and fulfilled what Jehovah had instructed him to do. He didn't. And he was told this. And guess what happened to him? He was punished. That was the start of his downfall. He was going to sacrifice the ones that he kept that were spotless. He was going to sacrifice those onto the Lord, thinking he's doing right in his own eyes, thinking he was going to please Jehovah. But he was disobedient because he didn't follow the full instruction of Jehovah, for he was doing right in his own eyes, not in Jehovah's. So you need to go read, and you need to stop profaning his Sabbaths, because you're going to stay blind if you keep doing it. And I'm just going to add this, like, I see this a lot with the Torah movement. They ignore the scripture that you give them to go read and see, so maybe that they're no longer blind to the truth, like you did with me, where I gave you Matthew 28 and then you pulled from John, which actually backs up Matthew 28. It just Matthew 28 just clarifies more the timing of when Mary arrived. Yeah, John doesn't tell you that it doesn't say about the dawning of the first day. It says it was dark, yes. But Matthew 28 tells you and is more specific in the timing that she came. Very early in the morning, like very, very early, when it was yet dark, right? And Matthew 28 says, before the dawning of the first day of the week. So it was still dark because it was before dawn, before the sun was rising. That period of time, it was more specific, clarifying more what the chapter in John you gave me was, because it was dark, clarifying more. And you guys just pull scripture to try to justify your thought process. And you ignore all the scripture that we give you to show you, hey, no, look at this, because this is what it says, to wake you up and show you the truth and what actual scripture says. You completely throw it out the window and ignore it and try to find scripture and take it out of context, because you're not following the full instruction. You're not you're not reading it fully. You're not searching all this scripture. You're ignoring the scripture we're giving you. Like, you cannot deny when he defines light is day, he defined it. He didn't define night as being day. He defined darkness as nights, and he defined light as day, right? That's what he defined. Light, he called day. Dark, he called nights. So I don't understand what you're giving me this scripture of a feast day. His Sabbaths, his weekly Sabbaths, is not a feast day. Sorry.